Hello, folks. This is Andrew Gilmore with another episode of Mostly Movies, Maybe Music. And this is the second show I've done this week. And I was thinking about the contrast here because my last show was with Nelson Hughes, who I've known for at least 25 years, maybe more than that. And on the other end of the spectrum today, I have a young lady here who is a new friend. I've known her for about a year, I think, and her name is Laura Jerrolds. And I met Laura through Facebook, but well, I'll get to that. I usually say my guest's credentials first, but Laura is a film historian, and that's a totally new concept for this show. I have never had any film historians on this show before. This is a first, so I'm kidding if you didn't know that. But yeah, she is a film historian and also a writer. She's written 4 books and is currently working on her 5th and 6th books already, so she's cranking them out. I wish I could write that much, but I guess I'm lazier than she is. But anyway, she started out writing a trilogy of children's books, and then that led her into writing biographies, and she's got a couple of biographies that she's working on now. And most recently, she published this, which is Laura La Plante, Silent Cinderella, which is a biography of Laura La Plante, who, if you don't know, was a actress in silent movies, who was a big star 100 years ago. So that kind of led her to the path to writing other biographies, and we'll get to that. And anyway, so she's quite a prolific writer, and I met Laura, as I said, through Facebook, because there is a film festival in New York every year called Capitolfest, which I go to, and Laura has started going to and has had some involvement behind the scenes there as well, and we'll get to that too. But anyway, there was a Facebook discussion going on about Capitolfest after last year's festival, and I started noticing Laura's comments in there, and I saw, oh, here's another young person who is enthusiastic about old movies and knows a lot about old movies like I do. And I found out later that she's actually significantly younger than I am, which is interesting, and that's something else we'll have to talk about. But anyway, it's always good to meet other people around my age who are into old movies, and so we connected, and here she is on my show. So it's kind of a long introduction, but anyway, I'll stop talking now and give Laura a chance to talk. So, Laura, thank you. It's I know it took a while for you to get to the show, but I'm glad you're here. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on your show.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. So, I wanted to start with something recent. I kind of have my prepared questions here, and then I guess you can go off into whatever else you want to talk about. But I just wanted to start with the fact that you were in California recently doing a research trip. So, I wanted to hear about that. Tell me about what happened when you were in LA.
Oh, yes, it was amazing. It was early May. I already miss it and I already want to go back. I was there mainly to meet, so my next book is about Marian Nixon,
Hmm.
and I was there to really meet her daughter Jessica Sider.
Oh,
She lives in Pasadena. I think she's 85. She's amazing. You would never know it. She has such like a youthful way about her. And so that was the main reason for the trip. But while I was there, I was like, well, I might as well go to some of the archives and libraries. And so again, like another book will be about Minna Gombell, who I love. And I saw her scrapbooks and I saw some of her films at UCLA. It was magical.
yeah. So, I mean, I knew who Laura La Plante was before I read your book, but Marian Nixon and Minna Gombell I don't know as much about. So, what interested you about them to the point that you wanted to write about them?
Yeah. I just was talking about this today with my husband. Like all my books kind of have like an invisible string. Like Laura La Plante, so she married Bill Sider. And
Right.
then Bill Sider married Marian Nixon. So I became interested in Marian through Laura. And then with Marian, Minna was in 2 of her films. My favorite one is After Tomorrow from 1932. Minna plays like kind of like almost like a wicked mother. So at first I was like, oh, I don't like this woman. But it's like obviously it's just a character. And I really just love Minna. So I was like, it's kind of like it's like almost like every person I've written about, they're mentioned in like the previous book.
Right, so there's a continuity. So who else did Minna Gombell work with that your next book will be about? I guess that's the next question.
Gosh, she worked with almost everybody. I know she had a movie like Clark Gable. I mean, she played a lot of secondary roles. Gosh, Sally Eilers. I hope I'm pronouncing that
Right,
right. And James Dunn. What else? Myrna Loy, the Thin
right,
Man.
yes.
Wow, everything. When I go through her movies, I'm like, who didn't Minna work with, really?
Yeah, well, she didn't work with me, but I came along a little late for that.
Oh, Ray, I wish I could have known her.
Yeah. Well, I used to be an actor. I don't know if you knew that about me.
No, I don't think I knew that. Wow, how amazing.
Yeah, I studied theater in college, and then I did some dinner theater shows and things like that. So
That's so
I
fun.
was of the theater, my dear.
Oh my gosh, I did theater in college too a little bit, but then I
Oh,
I
did you?
changed majors because I'm really shy and I was like they wanted me to go on stage and sing. I'm like I can't.
Oh, I didn't know that until just now. So tell me what you did.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I was started with community college. I just was like studying theater. I did never was like in a show.
Oh,
And then I transferred to in St. Augustine. There's Flagler College. I only was there for one semester. It's that beautiful Henry Flagler, his hotel from back in the day. Is so I was there for one semester doing theater, and that's when I realized it really wasn't for me. I'd rather like write about the stage and the films instead of like being behind the camera.
right. Yeah. So I guess we're veering off here, but I guess yeah, trying to get back to it. Now. See, I knew this was going to happen, that we'd go off into things, and then I have to go back into what my prepared questions were, and
Yeah, of course.
how do I navigate this? It's tough every time I do this.
Oh, I'm sure.
Uh, just trying to focus, but yeah, I wanted to ask you because you're a writer, so I know you must be a prolific reader as well, like most writers are. So just tell me about some of the books that inspired you in your life.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so one thing about me is I always feel like if you want book recommendations, like I'm not the person because I read like mostly like children's middle grade books. The books that like inspire me the most though to be a writer would be like Nancy Drew books growing up. She's probably my biggest inspiration. And like American Girl and
Hmm,
but again Nancy Drew, she's my main one. But now I kind of branch off into other fiction from the 1910s and 20s and 30s.
right.
But I really like I feel like I'm not well read. Like kind of random.
Hmm. Well, so you never really got into reading beyond children's books and that kind of thing?
I mean, a little bit. Like, I know it sounds crazy, right? I would say, like, I really, sorry, my cat is like trying to break through the door. I like biographies a lot, and that was like really what, like, reading biographies is what got me interested in writing them. But honestly, up until recently, I really was just like consuming middle grade, which is why I wanted to rate middle grade. And I really wasn't expecting to go down the nonfiction path. It happened organically. I was like, oh wow, I don't even really know much about this.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think I was going to be a teacher, and I'm 16
Yeah.
years into my teaching career, so there you
That's
go.
amazing.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah, that's what have I done? I've done more than 350 sessions at this point, but
That's
anyway,
incredible.
yeah, somehow it just kept going. I have people who have been supportive, and anyway, we're supposed to be talking about you, but I keep interjecting
Oh,
myself
no,
into.
it's okay.
Yeah, well, I do that every show. I always end up talking about myself more than I should. But
No, that's
anyway,
great.
yeah, well, it's the first time we've met face to face, so there's an opportunity to learn about each other.
For sure.
But
Yeah.
anyway, but I always feel like I should apologize for talking about myself because that's
No,
not.
it's your show.
Yeah. Anyway, um, so yeah, so you were reading a lot of middle grade books. So then, what? How did you come to write your first book?
Okay, so I have always like, wanted to be an author, but I didn't really know how. And there became an opportunity for me they call it like a book audition to be a ghostwriter. And I mean, it was for, I don't want to say what it was for, but it was for my favorite children's series growing up. And I submitted like two outlines and sample chapters, and I wanted this more than anything. And I got my hopes up like way too high. And then when it came down to it, I didn't get it, and I was crushed. And I swear to you, 3 days later, I get the idea for my first book, Help, It's 1928. And it was like a miracle for that dark period to all of a sudden be like, and I knew what I wanted to do and I wanted to write this book. And originally my goal was write this book, get a good resume, and then try again to be the ghostwriter.
Right,
Now I'm just more focused on stuff with my own name. So,
right. Yeah, I did on your YouTube channel. I listened to the audiobook of Help It's 1928, so that was entertaining.
oh, thank you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I did my research for this.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I'm wondering because, a lot of people out there, I'm sure, have books sitting on their laptops that they've written and that they might not necessarily get out there. So what was the process from you wrote this thing and it's sitting on your computer? How did you get it out there?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I was like, well, I'm probably going to self-publish this book. I don't know if you can see, but there's Mickey ears on the cover.
Hmm.
I was like, I don't know if like that's okay because
Right.
Disney.
Well, it is now.
Yeah, right. That's true. So I self-published the book. I hired a cover artist. Her name is Angela Beatty. She's incredible. And then I hired like formatters because I wanted my book to look professional. And then I just put it out into the world. It came out like 2 weeks after I graduated college, in
Hmm.
2022. And it was an exciting time.
Well, again, you're making me feel. I'm thinking about where I was after I graduated college. You're making me feel so lazy.
No, I was a late bloomer though. I graduated college when I was 28, I
Oh,
think.
okay, that's different.
Yeah, I went all over, all over the place in between those years.
Yeah, I mean, I did the usual thing. I was 22, so
Yeah.
not doing much with my life at that point.
Oh no. That's still exciting though.
Yeah. And now I've lost my train of thought again. Oh, see what you did to me, Laura. You come on here and I get all confused.
Oh no.
Uh, I know there were a couple of things I wanted to mention. One is that my father is a writer as well, and he's self-published a couple of books, so I can relate to that. I know what you're talking about.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he started writing when he was, well, I guess he was writing before, but he really committed himself to writing when he turned 60, and he wrote a couple of novels that I think are still available on Amazon. So if you put in Hugh Gilmore, you'll find my dad's books.
Wow,
And
amazing. I love that.
yeah, and he's not doing it anymore, but for quite a while there, he was writing every day. And yeah, I'm actually in my parents' basement right now, so this is where he wrote all his stuff, and this is my parents' workspace.
Oh, how cool.
Um,
That's amazing.
yeah, and the other thing was that I was going to mention that I used to do this radio series, which I wrote and produced, and we've both written things about time travel that take place in 1928 because
Oh,
one of the second season of my show, I had the characters time traveling, and they landed in a vaudeville theater in 1928. So that's something else we have in common.
that's crazy. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Like, what are the odds of that?
yeah.
Wow.
I can tell you more about that if you want. I mean, I'm going off on all
Yeah,
these
that's
things,
amazing.
but yeah, I have. Well, again, I feel like the listeners are going to kill me if I don't let you say more. But anyway, no, it's an exchange of ideas. So whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm gonna continue to apologize throughout the entire interview,
No, don't apologize.
um, but yeah, I had this radio show I used to do called Speed Laughs, which was a series of 5 minute pieces. So it's fast paced and hopefully funny. So that's why I called it Speed Laughs. It's fast and funny. Uh, so the main character is a detective, and I had this idea where and one of my characters was one of her sidekicks, Professor Pumpernickel, who was the German detective, and he comes in and he says his time machine was stolen, so that's the crime that they have to solve. So we figure out, okay, how do you find a stolen time machine? Well, obviously you get another time machine and you go back to the day the first time machine was stolen, and then you can prevent the first time machine from being stolen. So they try to go back to the day before yesterday to find the stolen time machine, but the time machine that they have doesn't work very well. So they accidentally end up going to the 1860s, and they meet President Lincoln, and there's a whole complication with that. And then they escape from the 1860s and go back to the time machine, and they take another wrong turn and end up in a vaudeville theater in the 1920s. And then there's a whole series of things that happens there. So
So
this is
cool.
so this is what happens when I'm in my room by myself for too long. I just go off on these weird things. Um, so
That's
yeah, so
good. Like the creative juices.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, we've both written things about 1928, as it turns out.
Yeah. What a
So
good year.
yeah, that I was thinking about that prior to this. I just think that's it's before the Depression and it's the height of the Jazz Age, so it's kind of the ideal year to explore.
It is.
So
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
yeah, is that why you chose it?
So it was a little bit more about Disney. Like that was when Mickey Mouse came out because the
Right,
book is like kind of about like they go back to Disney.
right, right.
Well,
I heard.
no, sorry, she starts at Disney as our like the modern girl. They go back in time to the Boardwalk Resort from the 20s that Disney based on their current Boardwalk Hotel. Um, so basically like 1928 is when Mickey Mouse came out and Minnie. We
Right,
always seem to forget, but so that was the reason for that year.
right, right. So I guess my reasons for it were a little more legally easy, I guess. I wasn't dealing with anything specific. But anyway, yeah, so I guess, well, we haven't really gotten into movies yet. I should ask you how you got started getting interested in old movies.
Yeah, honestly, it was from the book Help It's 1928. I'm pretty late to like the silent film world. And when I was writing the book, I was researching the 20s and I was just so interested in the 20s. And that was when I started learning about the different actresses. From the start, my favorites actually were Clara
Yes.
Bow, sorry, Colleen Moore and Louise Brooks.
Yep. All
And
good
Laura La
choices.
Plante, like I found her because we share a name. I was like, oh, I'm Laura too.
Right.
But at the time, they didn't have any, there wasn't any books on her. I couldn't find much information, so I was more just consuming media on those three. And that really was what got me into the old movies. And I actually wanted to share about this book, Louise Brooks by Barry Paris.
Hmm.
This book is like the reason that I wrote Laura LaPlante, Silent Cinderella, because
Ah,
I don't know if you've read this one yet. It's so
no.
good.
No, I
Oh
haven't
my
read it.
gosh. And it's so well researched and he inspired me to try my hand in biography writing. I mean, I don't think I'll ever get up to his level, but he's an inspiration.
Yeah. Have you read David Sten's book about Clara Bow?
I have. That's
Yeah.
another good one. Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's the saddest thing I ever read, but it was fascinating.
Yeah,
Fa-
no, you're right. I know. It was horrible.
yeah.
But a great book. But yeah, very tragic.
Yeah. I read it in like 5 days, which is unusual for me, but I was hooked on it.
It
And
very gripping.
yeah, I mean, I just adore Clara. She's one of my absolute favorites.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so surprised when Taylor Swift like released the song called Clara Bow. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. So hopefully she's out there again. I hope there's some young people watching her movies.
I think it definitely helped.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to ask you because I know, I'm 38 and it's kind of unusual for me to be into this stuff. But then I found out that you're 30, you're a kid. So
Oh my gosh.
what kind
No.
of, when I was your age, we had VHS tapes, daughter.
Yeah.
Um, so what kind of reaction do you get from other people your age? I mean, I know there are some people around our age that are on Facebook that are into this stuff, but generally are friends your age not as interested in this stuff?
Yeah, no, they're not really interested. And I know some of them do like older movies, but typically it's like obviously like the talkies, like they're a little bit confused about silent films. I don't think that they've really given them a try though, because it's like if you don't like they're very interesting as you know.
Yeah.
Most people I feel like assume they're like little short, maybe even like Keystone Cop type vibes, but they're really good. Like I try to share the knowledge with them, but I don't think it's for everybody, especially
Yeah.
at like a younger age.
Yeah, I wonder about that, because I'm not in touch with younger people, but I think about how I guess a lot of people don't even know who Humphrey Bogart is anymore, or somebody like that who used to be Charlie Chaplin or whoever. These people who were standard cultural references, and now they're starting to go. Uh,
Yeah, for
do you?
sure. I know it's sad, but
Yeah.
we'll keep
So,
their names alive.
yeah, I'm glad there's somebody like you out there at least.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I've told you how I'm writing about this on Facebook every week. How I'm doing a course on silent films, and a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people were just telling me, I'm not going to take a course on silent films. They're boring. Who cares about that? And, but every week when I've had these classes, I only have 5 people there, but those 5 people have really been blown away every week by what they're seeing. So I wish more people could have an open mind and appreciate that.
I completely agree. Because it's like if they just would give it a chance, they're really wonderful stories.
Yeah, that's the same thing. I mean, my dad is kind of, and I love my dad, but he can be kind of a curmudgeon sometimes, and he always claims that he doesn't like silent movies, but then every year when we go to Capitolfest, he'll see something silent and go, "Oh yeah, that was really good." So I think
Yeah, no,
he, I think he likes them more than he claims to. I think he's lying to me, is what I think.
but like at Capitol Fest, oh my gosh, it's like you're seeing it the way it was supposed to be seen. So I feel
Yeah,
like it like adds to the experience so much.
yeah. I was kind of going to save that for the end of the conversation, but
Oh yeah, we can save
yeah,
Capitol
we'll
Fest.
come back to that. But yeah, just you kind of said in a general way how you got into old movies, but I'm interested just to know like what you've seen and what you haven't seen. So can you just tell me more about the progression over the last few years and learning about old movies?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like the first one that I watched was Ella Cinders with Colleen
Yeah.
Moore. And when her eyes go all crazy, and I,
Yes.
I felt silly, but at first I was like, "Oh, she's got crazy eyes," like not realizing it was split screen.
Right.
Um, I was again like The Cat and the Canary was super early on for me. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the most recent ones that I've seen. What I'll tell you when I'm being interviewed, I like my mind is like blank. It's suddenly like I should make notes. I mean at UCLA, I've seen a lot with Laura. One again, we can save this for Capitol Fest, but Butterfly
Hmm.
is like my very favorite one. And when you're at UCLA, they are dead silent because no one's there playing. They don't have
Right.
any music, so it's like the fact that it's that good, even like a dead silent movie, says something.
Yeah.
I got to see Sporting Youth for with Laura La Plante. Unfortunately, like the end was chopped, which
Mm.
bummer. I think they have the end at the Eye Museum in Amsterdam. What else? I mean, a bunch. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible at this. And to be honest, is this bad to say? I actually do prefer talkies. Is that
Hmm.
horrible to admit?
No, well, I appreciate both. So,
My favorite films are like early 1930s.
hmm.
Like, yeah,
Like what?
gosh, probably like After Tomorrow with Marian Nixon and Minna Gombell. And then maybe it's because it's them. When I just was in UCLA, I saw Stepping Sisters. So that was with Minna, Louise Dresser, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Jobina Howland?
I think it's Jobina. Yeah.
Jobina? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And that was so funny. And it's 35 millimeters, so I kind of want to be like, art, maybe for a future year.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What are my other favorite? The Old Dark House.
Hmm.
Love that film. Gosh. Again, I need to make a list. I'm so bad at this. Bad Girl with
Remind me what that
Minna.
is. Oh, that's Minna again. Okay.
Minna, yeah, you know.
Mm.
I mean, Laura La Plante has a movie that I love, but I feel like it's super underrated. It's called Man of the Moment from 1935. It's one of my favorites. It's with Douglas Fairbanks Jr. It was actually Laura's last film until she took like a long break and then came back for two extra films in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I need to make a list for you. What have I seen? I still have so much to see.
Yeah. Well, I could make some recommendations. I'm sure. I mean,
Please do,
I've been
yes.
doing this for a long time.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, last year, That's My Daddy. Do you remember that one at Capitol
oh
Fest?
yes, yes.
That was like again like one of my favorite. Like I literally was like, why am I crying? It was beautiful.
Yeah, that was great. I wish they would release that somewhere.
Me too. I know. I hope so.
Yeah, I know because there's other Reginald Denny stuff out there, and then they didn't. I don't know why they didn't include that one in the other releases.
Yeah, like that
But
one DVD with like three of I think it's like Skinner's dress suit.
yeah,
Oh, and it's another one I love. Oh my gosh, see? They're coming back to me. What Happened to
right.
Jones with Marian
Oh
Nixon?
yeah, that's
That's
great.
great. With like when Reginald Denny's like dressed in drag almost. It's amazing.
Yeah. So what about just kind of the basic things like the Marx Brothers and Laurel and Hardy, and the things that everybody knows?
I feel like I probably not. I'm pretty new to it.
Really, you're that new? Okay.
I'm really new. Yeah, new as of 2021. Like
So you haven't seen the Marx Brothers?
probably a little bit. I
Hmm.
mean, Laura did an interview with one of the Marx Brothers in 1956, I think.
Okay.
Groucho
Wow.
Marx.
So I've
Yeah.
really got a lot of work to do then.
I have so much. I know. Sometimes I feel like I've seen a lot of Laura La Plante, Marian Nixon, and Minna Gombell stuff though,
Right. So we can stick mostly to that, I guess.
and Colleen Moore.
Yes. Well, do you have a favorite Clara Bow movie of what you've seen?
Oh my gosh, I definitely do. Hoopla?
Yeah. So I was just talking to Nelson Hughes about that on the last show. Yeah, I love Hoopla.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And in Minna's scrapbook, she had all these photos of her in the film, like her in the hula outfit. And I was like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah, the that last shot of Clara as it fades out makes me cry because I know it's her last film and that's the last time the world ever saw her. It's like we're saying goodbye to Clara.
I
So that
know.
always
And
makes
it's
me choke up.
sad. Yeah, because like, yeah, she had such a bright future, like I wish she would have stayed in films.
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly she wasn't happy towards the end, so
For sure. Yeah.
there's no reason for her to stay.
No, you're right. That happened to, I feel like a lot of them. I know like Laura got really, really tired of it as well.
Yeah,
They just wanted to live a normal life, and we can't blame them for that.
yeah. So I'll switch topics a little bit here, but we were talking the other day about the possibility of my writing a book sometime, and I don't know if I would want to do that, but just some things about your process might help me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just tell me. I was at the Library of Congress like 20 something years ago, and I was only there for like an hour, so I didn't have a lot of time to do research. But just tell me about the process for trying to see these rare films and go to archives and things like that, because I don't
Yeah.
really I don't really know how that's done. So if you could give me some
Yeah.
tips on that.
Absolutely. So for me, it usually starts with like a random email to someone. Like, even if I'm emailing, like now I feel like I know people, but at the time I would find a general email and just basically say, hey, I'm researching so and so, and I wanted like to see what you've got. Like UCLA, you can browse what films they have. Some of the archives don't tell you. You have to kind of ask what they have. So just like unsolicited emails is probably my favorite way. But with UCLA, it's amazing. Like even if one is still hasn't been digitized, like they'll do that for you for free. Like they just need a certain amount of months in advance. They'll be like I saw 5 minute films and most of them hadn't, they were still, in reels and they were able to put them on like a DVD. It was crazy.
I didn't know they would do that for free. I assumed it would cost money.
I thought so too because like so some of them do like George Eastman, I had to pay. It wasn't much. I think it was maybe like $40 to see. I saw Dead Game. That one will be at Capitol Fest.
Right.
Yay. Yeah, I would just say start with like an email. If you, and again, like off the record, like I can send you like names of people like
Oh,
to help
yeah,
post
that would be a
more.
big help.
Yeah, like and you just sit in your little cubicle and you just watch movies. And like then you call on the phone at UCLA at least. Oh, I'd like to change media. I mean, it's like the best day of your life.
Yeah. I mean, I can't travel, so I'm not going to be able to physically go to the archives. But
Oh, yeah.
if there are ways I can get DVDs of things, then that would be a big help. Especially since I'm a teacher, I could use that material.
Yeah. The Wisconsin Center for Film and Theater Research, they do remote screenings. So with Marian Nixon, they had The Lash and sweepstakes, and I had to pay, and then they send you the link. So maybe that could be something you look into, like
Uh,
send them an email.
yeah, definitely. That would work really well for me.
Yeah, it was great. And again, that one had a little bit of a fee as well, but it's never been anything that's like shocking, you know?
Yeah, if
Just
it's like $50 or whatever, I
I
could
think it
pay
was
that.
about that for both, so it was fine.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, the other thing I wanted to ask you about, because this is one of the main reasons that I haven't written a book about movies, is I was thinking about licensing pictures for a book. So is that expensive?
So I never had to license one because the places that do that, I'm like not interested. Because sometimes they'll be like, how many, like this basically is it a 1,000 print run or I'm like, I don't know how much this book is gonna sell. So with silent films, a lot of them are public domain. So like I
Right.
collect photography, like I have a big binder of photos. I did get some photos from UCLA had one. I think it was like $100 charge just one time for the photo. And I was like, I needed that photo. It was Laura in front of her house. Um, some places charge a little bit. If it's licensing, I'm just not, I don't really get involved. Um, but I was so lucky for Laura La Plante. Do you know Emily Evans? She was
No,
at Capitol Fest last year.
no.
She's the original Denny.
I think I've heard the name, but I don't know her.
No, it's okay. But she had so many photos of Laura LaPlante that she generously let me use. Like she would scan them in, and that like saved the book for me because there's 101 photos in the book, and without her, it would have been not as many because it's
Yeah.
to purchase every single photo yourself is it's quite the process.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Excuse me, my tongue is not working. That's one of the things that has kept me from writing a book. As I said, I wondered how much it would cost to have photos, and if you're dealing with historical material, I guess you need photos. So I'll have to
For
figure that
sure.
out.
But it's fun. I like the collecting part. It almost gives me an excuse because I think if I didn't write books, I would still collect photos of these women. I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I guess I'm obsessed too, but for different reasons. But I won't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if you know. I run a couple of Facebook groups about actresses.
Oh, nice. That's wonderful.
Yeah, because I've always, growing up, the vintage ladies were my crushes. So I've just kind of
Yeah.
followed that through my life as I've learned more about movies.
Oh, yeah. It's so
So
they're wonderful to look at and everything.
yeah, Samantha Glasser can tell you a lot about that. I love my vintage girls, but I
Oh,
won't.
yeah. I can't wait to meet her at Capitol Fest.
Oh, you haven't met?
Not in person, just like on Facebook. Yeah, I didn't really meet anybody last year. I don't know why my screen's all blurry, by the way, all of a sudden. But I was very shy at Capitol Fest. I don't think I really met anybody this year, though. It'll be different.
Yeah, it's hard for me because I'm wandering around and there isn't really anybody that I know that I can talk to between movies. So it's hard to find
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, you're right. I'm excited for that, like to see familiar faces now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because when I go there, I've been going there 7 or 8 years now, and I'll just be walking around and people pass me. Hey, Andrew, how are you? People recognize me now, so
Yeah, that's
that's
so nice.
funny.
Yeah.
Um, where am I? Oh, I was gonna. Um, I guess yeah. Since we were talking on Facebook the other day about maybe am I writing a book, and I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I was thinking of a couple of ideas that maybe I could share with you. But
Of course, please. Yeah.
yeah, do you know? I guess since you're so new to this, you might not know this name, but there was an actress named Alice White. Do you know who she is?
Yes, I do know her. She's adorable. Her
Yeah,
little
yeah,
haircut. Yes.
yeah. What movies of hers have you seen?
Oh gosh. I don't know if I have.
Oh, you've just
I
seen
just
pictures.
I feel like I more see these faces and it's like but I don't know if I've seen one of her films. She may have been in one that I just can't remember.
Okay, yeah, she did a bunch of things at Warner Brothers around in the early talkie era, and you know, those movies are primitive as early talkies tend to be, but they're fun, and she was a lot of fun. And I'm sorry, I don't know why my lights keep flickering like that in
Oh,
the
it's
background, but
okay. Ghosts. No, I'm kidding.
it's the ghost of Alice White, and
Yeah,
or
probably.
or well, it's probably Laura La Plante more likely, but
That'd be
um,
amazing. I hope
yeah,
she's here.
yeah. Hi, Laura.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, yeah, sometimes weird things happen down in the basement. I don't know. I apologize to the viewers for that, but I can't control that at the moment. Uh, excuse me. Um, but yeah, I thought about possibly writing an Alice White biography because, and I'll tell you why. Because her career was pretty much over by the end of the 30s, and then she just kind of disappeared. There aren't, as far as I know, there weren't any interviews later or anything. But when I look for her on eBay, there's a lot of, well, not a lot, but occasionally I'll see autographed pictures that she sends to people or letters that she wrote to people, and she always dated them, and they're from the late 70s, early 80s when she was an older woman. So I thought, okay, if her movie trail ends in like 1938, but she was still around, still active in 1979, then what was happening between those 2 points? There's got to be a story there somewhere. So
Yes. Oh my gosh.
if
Yes, this you have to do this. That's amazing. I would love a biography about her. She
yeah,
seems so interesting.
yeah, I know there were some scandals in her life and kind of weird things that happened.
Yes. I can't remember, but I remember like researching for once in like Wikipedia and I was like, "Oh my goodness, what is going on?"
Yeah, there's some weird stuff there, but yeah, I always enjoyed seeing her in the movies. So yeah, if there's some information out there and I can fill in those gaps, then maybe I can figure that out. And
That would be wonderful. And maybe she has her papers somewhere.
I hope so. I hope somebody has them.
Yeah.
I've never heard of an Alice White collection anywhere, but there are so many people in our circle that know so much. I'm sure somebody out there has connections that can figure that out.
I'm sure. And the fact that you've seen letters, I don't know if you know about this website, worthpoint.com. You get to see what's sold on eBay. And like, so I screenshot all the letters that even if they've sold, I'm like, that can help me on my book.
Yeah, I've seen things on there occasionally. I'm not too in depth with it, but if somebody will point out something that's sold for like $50,000 or something, and
Oh my gosh.
at least I can look at it.
Exactly. Like, yeah, and then sometimes it makes me sad. I'm like, I wanted that so bad.
Yeah, there's actually well, this is a totally different subject, but there was a script that I bought recently that cost, well, maybe it's not polite for me to say what it cost, but
It's okay.
there was a comma in it, so
Yeah.
uh, but that's about as far as I go sometimes. If it's that's unusual for me, but anyway, that's a subject for a whole other podcast.
But
Uh,
I don't blame you if it's something you really want.
yeah, it was something very rare, so I wasn't going to get it any other way, so I had to spend the money, and that's all there was to it.
Oh, yeah.
Um, But the other idea for a book that I had was, and there's probably things that are similar to this that are already out there, but I really love the pre-code Warner Brothers movies, and I've collected a lot of them. So I
Yeah.
thought, and I love the whole kind of stock company that they have of people like all the character actors, Alan Jenkins and Frank McHugh and all those guys, because they become like family to you after a while. So I thought maybe I could do a book just doing articles about each Warner Brothers movie from maybe 1929 to 35 or something like that.
Oh, that
Maybe,
would be amazing. That'd be what a source that would be for so many people.
yeah, that's
Like me included, I'd learn so much from you.
yeah. There's a lot to write about there. They cranked out so many movies, and I'm in the middle of reading Matthew Kennedy's biography of Joan Blondell, and he talks about the whole studio system there and how they were just cranking things out to as you know, just to the point of exhaustion with some people. But
Oh yeah,
but that's good for us because it means there are a lot of movies out there to cover.
for sure. No, you're
So
right.
yeah, so those are at least two subjects that I could cover. But if I wrote a book, but again, I'm kind of lazy about these things. But a lot of people over the years have told me you should write a book. So someday,
Yes. It'd be great for all your knowledge to be like in a book for all of us, to
well,
have. Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, I'm also getting older. I don't have as much energy as I did when I was 22, but we'll see.
But didn't you say your dad wrote books at 60?
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah.
So
Well, they were novels. He wasn't doing research. That's part of it.
that's
But I
true.
don't know.
But I find the research like to me that's my favorite part. I feel like Nancy Drew. She's my girl. Like you're trying to solve a mystery, really.
Have you seen the Nancy Drew movies with Benita Granville from?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And do you know Kate Ardent? I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She's writing a book about Benita Granville, and it's going to come out like any day now, she said.
No, again, that rings a bell somewhere, but I don't know her.
I love her so much. She's been amazing. But yeah, it's with Bear Manor Media, and she said it's like it's already off. So, because I remember when mine came out, I didn't know the date. All of a sudden it just dropped. And I was like, oh, it's out. Like I didn't know. But
And
yeah, but yes, Benita Grimble. Actually, those Nancy Drew movies, that may have been like my earliest movie that I've seen. I saw those when I was a kid because I
oh
love
yeah,
Nancy. And I remember thinking it was so cool how they went to the ice box and got the ice. It's like I love the 30s, even though I know the Great Depression, but I wanted to live in like the romanticized 1930s.
right. Yeah, sometimes there's just certain sets in movies, and I think, yeah, I wish I could live in that house or whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to mention, what you said what got me into movies, The Three Stooges. My
Ah,
parents raised me on them.
well,
Like,
now you're talking my language.
see, like I literally we every Sunday we'd watch them. We'd eat some ice
Yeah.
cream. But it was like it was such a special memory. And for my dad's birthday last year, I gave him the box set all, and he cried because it was just like a family memory for us.
Yeah, my parents and I, when I was in high school, we used to watch this. Sorry, there goes my tongue again. We used to watch the Stooges on Sunday mornings. They ran them every week, and
Yeah.
it was a family thing for us. And we still there's at one of our local theaters up here. There's a Stooges festival every year, and
Ooh.
we used to go, but actually it sells out every year. So the last couple of years we weren't able to get tickets, but we're going to go again this year. But
That's
and
amazing.
yeah,
Do people dress up like as the Three Stooges?
I remember one
Okay.
time there was a guy in the lobby dressed as Mo, but
Love
ge-
Mo.
yeah, but generally I don't see people doing that. They come as themselves. But yeah, have you ever been to a Stooges screening in a theater?
I haven't. No, I need to go. That would be like such a full circle moment, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean hearing 400 people laugh at the Stooges is
Yes.
amazing.
How wonderful.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite short? Is there a particular one that your family liked? Or
Oh my gosh, there were so many that we loved. There was one where like I think our very favorite was again about ice. Like when I forget, like it's been so long. They're carrying the ice up the stairs, and every time they get to the top, it's gone because it melted. I don't know why that just killed us.
yes,
Like
I'm trying to remember the name of it and I can't.
I know. Again, I have not watched like sat down and truly watched those since I was probably a kid. I need to get back into it because they were hilarious.
Yeah.
There
Do
was
you?
one like there's one with gum. I don't remember. It was like they put gum in the cake or something. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Like just funny, like ones like that that really stick to your mind.
And I'm trying to remember the name of that one too, and I'm blanking. I wish Rich Finnegan were here. He could tell us.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. He's wonderful.
Yeah. I've known him for quite a while.
Oh my gosh. I
Good
can't wait to
guy.
see him in person. Like he's just been such a good friend and just helpful. He like mailed me a packet of research materials for Marian Nixon. It's like
Oh.
just wonderful. Wonderful person.
Yeah, I used to ask him about cue sheets, the music cue sheets for films, and he would scan things and send them to me. And sometimes I felt like I was imposing on him because I'm sure he has other things to do than things like that. And I didn't want to push it too much and ask him for too many things. But as you know, he's always accommodating about things like that.
He is, yeah. It's so nice.
Anyway, we're way off because I'm sure some of the people watching this don't even know who Rich is. So,
Oh
but
yeah, you're right.
anyway, anyway, yeah, my family is watching this. They've never met him. They don't know what we're talking about. But anyway, yeah, we were talking about the Stooges, and that's interesting that you're into the Stooges, but you haven't seen the Marx Brothers or some of the other comedians of that era.
I know. I don't know if it's like just I don't know if it's like not my thing. I know it's terrible. I love the Three Stooges. I think maybe it's like I love their comedy so much. It's
Yeah.
like how can I don't know.
Well, I don't know how much of Laurel and Hardy you've seen, but I'm sure you would like them if you like slapstick.
Yes, I have seen some of theirs because I know so Minna was in the one, and I also got really into Gertrude Astor for a bit.
Hmm.
I thought she might need a book someday, but kind of silly, she doesn't have many photographs out on eBay, and I know that's such a big part of a book. Um, but yeah, so I have definitely seen them. They're really funny, I will say.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure you know Randy Skretvet.
Yes.
There's another mensch. Yep. Uh, yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm hoping to get Randy on the show eventually, but the only times I've spoken to him face to face were during the pandemic. I was doing film classes on Zoom, and he sat in with us a couple of times, and I did some Laurel and Hardy screenings with him.
Oh, how
So
fun.
yeah, I think it was his idea. I can't remember whether he volunteered to do that or whether I asked him, but I think it was his idea. And yeah, as you know, he's just a very friendly guy, and that was fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Just going back to the Stooges, I forgot to ask you because it's an important question. Do you like Shemp?
Yes. Okay. You know what's funny about Shemp? We had the little like no VHSs, and he was
Mhm.
one of. I actually thought that he like growing up. I thought he was like the original.
Yeah. Well, technically he was.
He was okay. Oh God. So did Curly replace him?
Well, yeah. Shemp worked with them in vaudeville on stage, and then when they did the movies, Curly came in. So, the,
Oh, okay. So it was the wow. That's so interesting. Like I know I love Shemp, and I remember like as a kid thinking when like this is I didn't know much about them, right? When he was gone, I thought he passed away. Like as a kid, I was like, oh, he's gone now.
well, he is technically, but
Yeah, no, you're right.
they're all gone now.
I know, but not in my heart.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the thing, because I know there used to be a lot of controversy about people who were really hardcore Curly fans didn't like Shemp and really dumped on Shemp. But I think that's not as true now. I think that was true 40 years ago.
Yeah, I did love Curly, of course. I feel like
Yeah,
how could you not, you know?
yeah. But Shemp was
Classic.
hilarious. I love anytime he turns up in a feature or anything. I always love Shemp. I think he was great.
Yeah, you're right. He was.
Yeah. And so where else am I? Yeah, we're all over the place here. I was also just as long as we're talking about comedy teams. Have you seen any of Wheeler and Woolsey at all? Do you know about them?
No.
Really? Because I mean, with people like Rich and Randy, we talk about Wheeler and Woolsey all the time. But they're big favorites of mine. They did a lot of movies in the '30s. They were at RKO, and they're not for everybody. Again, some people used to dump on them a lot, and I think, well, again, it was kind of. I could go off on a whole thing about them here, but I love them, and I'm a big supporter of theirs. And there used to be a lot of things on Facebook where people would just say, "Oh, they were the worst comedy team ever. Those guys suck," and whatever. And there's just a lot of dumping on them, and some people would defend them, and some people wouldn't. And that really, I found that hurtful. Like, why should you dump on something that is so joyful to other people?
Yeah,
And then, but I find now, when people bring up Wheeler and Woolsey on Facebook now, a lot of people are more supportive of them. There's less dumping on them now than there was 10 years ago. I think people have come around. So,
that's good. I'll
yeah.
definitely give him a chance.
Yeah, I can. I mean, some of them are pretty bad because they were cranking out a lot of movies so quickly that they really, there's some clunkers there. But I can point you in the direction of some of the best ones.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
yeah, absolutely. They were a lot of fun. So I think if we work together, then there's a lot of good movies out there that you're in for a treat with a lot of things.
Yes, I need to brush up on my comedy, I guess.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I forget what else I was going to say about them, but anyway. Yeah, there were a couple of things because I read your book, of course. So there are a couple of things about Laura that I want to touch on, and
Yeah, of
I
course.
didn't. Most of the things that I would want to know are in your book, so I'm not going to ask you the same old questions. But there are a couple of specific things, and one is that you mentioned that Laura was supposed to be in a movie called The Storm, which surprised me because we saw The Storm at Capitolfest a few years ago, and it's a good movie. Everybody
Did
liked
you
it.
really?
Yeah,
Oh my God, I'm so jealous.
yeah. Well, that was
Sorry.
before your time.
Wow, I would see, I would love to see it because of Laura, like to know that she was,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I had already seen it, so I knew what that movie was, and I was surprised that Laura was supposed to be in it. So I was just wondering how you found that out.
Yeah, it was from Laura. She did some interviews later in her career, and they wanted to know, why did you leave Universal? And that was really why. I mean, I do think all of the overworking is what led to that moment
Hmm.
with the storm when, and she, for those who don't know, she she had to get dressed in a particular way, and the director, William Wyler, he didn't have time for her. So she had to do it all herself, and she was overworked and tired. And when they finally get on location and she puts on this outfit that she's wanted him to approve, and he's like, "What the hell are you wearing?" And she had to go back and change. And then she called her husband, Bill Sider, and she's like, "I don't want to do this movie." So,
Right.
yeah, but it's funny because I would love to see The Storm and know because Laura didn't think it would be suited for her. After seeing it, do you agree? Like,
It's been maybe 5 years since they
that's
ran it,
true.
so yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I think was it did Lupe Velez play the part that she was supposed
She
to play?
did, yeah.
Yeah, I think if anything, I mean, and I like Lupe Velez, but I think probably Laura would have been a better choice.
Oh, wow. So yeah, and I know Laura, like William Wyler and her are fine because like she had said that like they were more friends later on, so there was like no hard feelings with that. But I am interested like why he didn't take the time to approve her outfits or just kind of be there for her.
Right, I remember that story from the book, and just for people who haven't read it and wouldn't know that story, buy the book.
Yay,
Laura La
please.
Plante, Silent Cinderella by Laura Jerrolds. Available
Thank you.
everywhere. How much are you paying me for that?
I'll slip you a check later.
Well, I would hope so. I'll send my lawyer after you if you don't.
Oh.
As soon as I get a lawyer, I'll have to work on that first. But anyway, the other thing, and it may be a similar answer, but I was surprised to find out that Laura was supposed to replace Myrna Loy in the Thin Man movies. I had never heard that.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
that surprised me too. Yeah, like basically like she was signed by MGM to do that, and then it fell through. I think when I looked it up, like Myrna Loy had just gotten married, so it's possible she was thinking maybe she didn't want to return. But yeah, that fell through. Yeah, and Laura said because like she was asked about it again later in her career, and she said she hadn't even realized that that news had like leaked because she was just so busy being a mother. So it's like they talked about it at the studio, but she was surprised like how did people know about this? Because it never really became super public.
yeah. Well, it's probably a good thing that she didn't replace Myrna Loy because I don't think anyone could.
No, yeah, it's like even though of course, I love me some Laura La Plante, like Myrna Loy fits the role so well. That's such a wonderful series. Like
Yeah.
Laura just couldn't have replaced her.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Although I'm kind of wondering then what, the chemistry between William Powell and Laura would have been interesting in another
That would
world.
have been interesting to see. You're right. It would have been cool for it to come out, but I think fans would have ripped Laura to shreds,
Yeah.
you know, just because of the replacement and
Yeah, well, I
yeah.
guess there we are back to Curly and Champ again, I guess.
You're right. Maybe they would have liked it. Who knows?
Yeah. Let's see. Let me check my notes. I want to see what else we haven't covered.
Yeah,
This is where I do my usual awkward pause, so maybe can you fill in for a minute?
I can fill in. Let me think. Think about Laura La Plante. Maybe more about the storm.
Oh, I was going to ask you how long it took to write the book. That was another thing.
Yes, of course. It was, I would say a year and a half, which does feel super quick, I know. I work really well under pressure. So when I signed the book deal with Bear Manor, I had like 6 months to turn in my draft. And I mean, I worked on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. Like I didn't really sleep, like even on my week, even now with Marian Nixon on my weekends, I'm working on my book. After work on my book every minute.
Yeah. Well, I guess a year and a half is probably pretty fast. I know some people it takes like 10 years to write a book.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if the subject was like kind of like how you were saying, you might want to write about every single movie with like Warner Brothers at that particular time. I feel like that would definitely be like a longer project. I got to a point where I researched everything about Laura. I was like, I think I have everything now. Because her life, unfortunately, she didn't document too much about it. There's no Laura LaPlante collection at any archive, which is strange. I'm like, does her son still have it? Because her son's still alive. Or maybe she didn't keep a, I don't know if she didn't keep scrapbooks. Maybe she just didn't, because her career was a career to her. It wasn't like, oh, I'm a star. Like, I don't know if she documented it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about how I don't think there's an Alice White archive, and I don't think she had any children, so there might not be anything out there.
Yeah. That's why it feels like you're grabbing little scraps to write a biography, you know?
Yeah, so that might, yeah, the Alice White thing might be tough, but at least with the Warner Brothers thing, I've seen most of the, well, I'm not sure. I've seen a good majority of the movies they made in that time, so I'm already familiar with a lot of them, so that would help. But of course,
Yeah, that's wonderful background knowledge.
yeah, but then I'd have to rewatch them anyway for research, so
You're right.
I'd
That
have
would be
to.
fun though, right? Like,
Yeah, I love those movies, at least most of them.
have you seen the one with Laura, God's Gift to Women,
Yes,
1931? Yeah, I love that one.
yeah, that's interesting because I mentioned Joan Blondell earlier, and I was doing a lot of research on her, and she's in that.
Yes.
And yeah, so I spent about 6 months this year watching all of Joan's movies. So I did see God's Gift to Women, and I'd
That's
s-
amazing.
I'd seen it before. Although I mean, and Laura's good in it, but I don't think it's a very good movie.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Like, I don't know. I feel like my taste in movies is not great either because I love it, but I'm like, is it even spectacular or is it? Because I think maybe oh, it's Laura La Plante, so suddenly I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
But you're right, it's not the best, and Laura's not in it as much as I would like.
right. Yeah, and I think I mean, a lot of people bash Frank Fay. I think he was, probably one of those people who was funny on stage but doesn't work in a movie.
That's
And
true. Yeah,
and the whole premise of, you have to stop fooling around with women or you're going to have a heart attack and die. I mean, this is, and
you're right. It's kind of stupid.
and that's supposed to be a comedy. So what's going on there?
You're right. I loved seeing Louise Brooks though. Like,
Yes.
yeah, I was like it was like Laura La Plante, Louise Brooks, did Joan Blondell. I'm like, this is everything I've ever wanted in one movie.
Yeah, well, considering the premise, they had to have the best looking women they could get, so there you go.
Oh my gosh, that scene with like Joan Blondell and Louise Brooks and then Frank Faye's on the bed and they're like kind of like fighting with each other. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, I thought that was so hilarious.
yeah. So are you big on Joan Blondell too? Have you seen a lot of her?
I probably haven't seen that many, but what I have seen, I love. I mean, obviously God's gift to women. I mean, I've seen Grease, you know?
Right. Well, which is not really her movie, of course.
That's true, right? I was showing my mom that. I was like, she was in the old movies. It's so funny when you see them in like a more modern movie, if you could say.
Yeah. Oh, did you see my interview with Shannon Quinty a while ago? Do you remember that? Or
I don't know if I did.
she runs. She's the programming director for one of our local theaters up here, and
Oh, nice.
she's a huge Joan Blondell fan. So we spent most of our time just geeking out about Joan. But
Oh my gosh, I'll
yeah,
have to watch.
yeah, she's one of my absolute favorites. I should definitely recommend like 5 or 6 of her movies that you should see.
Yes, please do. I want like a whole recommendation list. Like
Yeah,
there's
well,
so much I haven't seen.
I've got a lot of stuff to send you. Then yeah,
That's
we've
good.
got work to
Yeah.
do here.
We do have work. I know. I'm like, ah.
Well, I was going to mention, and I don't remember why this came into my mind, but something you were saying earlier reminded me of this. But my favorite movie is a musical called Love Me Tonight. Have you seen that?
I don't think so. It sounds good
Oh,
though.
yeah, it's Maurice Chevalier and Jeanette MacDonald, and it's I've seen it like 25 times. I just love this movie so much,
Oh wow.
and I think you would too. So
Okay,
that's
thank you for that. Yes, I always need a good recommendation.
yeah. I was hoping we could talk about it. I was hoping you had seen it, but
I'm
well,
so sorry. Next
yeah,
time, right by Capitolfest, I'll have
you
watched
really.
it.
I didn't realize how much of a newbie you are here. This is
I'm such a newbie. I know. It's yeah, this came about, like I said, this came about from fiction, and it just was like I just loved the 20s and I wanted to learn as much as I could about it. And I plan to just keep staying in this decade and the 30s.
yeah. So then, what was your interest in the 20s? If you hadn't seen a lot of the movies yet.
Yeah, I love the fashion. I love the bob haircut. That might be my favorite reason about the 20s, honestly. I mean, growing up, we read The Great Gatsby. That literally might be the reason I love the decade. I know it's pretty basic, but I just love the idea of how women were kind of rebellious. It's really inspiring, I think. Like they just chop their hair and then they're going out at night. I love it. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. I feel like I should apologize to the viewers again when I asked you to fill in there earlier because that is a little awkward, and I've done that on a couple of shows where lose track of my questions, and then I have to ask the guest to fill in, which is kind of an unprofessional thing to do. But
Oh,
I try to treat these things as if they're live broadcasts. And sometimes I used to do live radio, and sometimes you get stuck and you have to figure out a way to fill in the time. So I'm apologizing more to the viewers than to you, but I just want to make that clear that if that's unprofessional on my part, then I'm sorry. So that's our disclaimer for this week.
no,
Uh,
it's fine.
um, maybe it's fine to you, but there might be somebody out there. There might be a professional out there who's watching, going, "That kid doesn't know what he's doing."
Oh,
But anyway, I've got a couple other topics, and then I guess. Well, yeah, it's been almost an hour, so but there are a couple other things, and then I guess we can wrap it up. But
yeah.
I was just curious because I guess most of the people, outside of our circle, I guess most of the people that you've talked to about the book are probably people who never heard of Laura. So I was just curious what the response was, or how you explain Laura's career to people who might not have that knowledge. And
Yeah,
so
of course.
yeah,
People have been excited about Laura because since it's not a familiar name, they're like, well, who is this woman? What did she do?
right,
So people who have read it who don't know anything about her, they're very grateful that they got to know her because Laura La Plante, she's such a nice person and like she's very selfless. I feel like she's not what you'd expect from a Hollywood actress. I was surprised by how normal, down to earth she was. So
yeah,
people who get to know her through the book, they're excited to learn more. And I think it might even open the door for them to be interested in other old Hollywood figures. That's the goal.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I guess I was expecting a longer answer there, but
Oh,
that
I'm
kind
so
of threw me.
sorry.
No, that's okay. It's just I never know. This is again, we're live. I never know how it's going to go. But I don't know. I guess I wondered if maybe people. I'm trying to figure out how to articulate this question. If there were just maybe if there's anything negative, if people who didn't know anything about old movies kind of wondered why you would choose that topic, or I mean, I'm sure it was mostly positive feedback, but I just wonder whether I mean, there's always. I guess there's always going to be somebody who would just go, "Well, why would you want to write about that? What's that about?"
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like there's been just positive feedback, but my circle's kind of small, so maybe people who I don't really talk to are like, why would she do that? I'm not sure. As far as like, do you mean like negative feedback from the book? Because there has been a little bit. But
Oh,
I like to take that and make it better next time, hopefully.
oh, why was there negative feedback from the book?
Well, no, I mean and wouldn't even say negative, just constructive. I'm curious if you felt this way, but like it was called a fan biography. I
Yeah.
think I like gush a little too much about Laura.
Well,
Did you get the
that's
vibe?
yeah, that's true enough, I think, but I wouldn't say that's a serious criticism.
But just like maybe next time looking at things with a more critical eye was something I was kind of told to try. So with Marian, I'm trying not to not be so like you know what I mean? If she made a mistake, I'm not gonna be so like defensive of her, I guess. Even though she was amazing. So
Yeah,
here
I,
I go.
yeah, I guess you want to try to be impartial to your subject if you're a
Correct.
biographer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess in your case you couldn't help it.
I couldn't I was like, well, we share a name. How can I?
Right. I was trying to think if there are any Andrews out there, but I could think if there was a character actor named Andrew Toombs, but that's the only one I could think of.
Ooh, he could be your Laura LaPlante.
Well, I don't know enough about him. I'd have to read about him. Um, I guess the only other thing I wanted to talk about was Capitol Fest, and first of all, how did you hear about it?
Yes. Oh my gosh, through Emily Evans, my friend who loves Reginald Denny. She was thrilled that they were honoring him last year. So when she told me about it, I went on the website and I saw, well, they're showing I'll Show You the Town with Marian Nixon, my next subject. And they were showing Crooked Alley with Laura LaPlante. And I had never seen that one. And I was like, I have to go, like, to
Hmm.
see my girls. And I actually grew up 2 hours from the venue in Kingston, New York.
Oh,
And so, I called them up, we should all go. My parents were super excited. So we all went. And like, I actually had never been to a film festival before. And like I think my expectations are so high now. Like if I go to another one, it's like it has to meet my Capitolfest. Like because Capitolfest exceeded every expectation I had.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, it was a literally life-changing event. I want to go every year from now on.
oh yeah. It is addicting. You'll find that
Yeah.
out.
Yes, and it's funny, my job gets super busy that time of year. I work at a college, so we're preparing for fall semester. And like when I first got the job, they're like, please, just please don't take off days that time of year. And I'm like, I have Capitolfest. I'm so sorry.
Well, yeah, you know your priorities,
Exactly. Like,
And it's research for your work.
Yes, and they're my bosses are great, but still,
That's
I'm like,
good.
I have to be gone. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's interesting because as I say, I've been going there since 2017, so I
Yeah.
guess I'm a veteran now. And what do you mind if I tell you that story?
No, please do.
It's interesting. This actually goes back to the movie I was talking about, Love Me Tonight, because I was. Well, it's a long story, but I got involved in a local screening up here because I suggested to a local theater that they show this movie, and I didn't think it was going to happen, but they followed through and they got a 35 millimeter print from Universal and got the movie shown there. And a couple of days before I was supposed to go there, I was exchanging emails with the woman who ran the theater, and she was very nice and all that. And a couple of days before I was going there, I sent her an email just to say, hey, I'm coming up to the screening on Sunday. I can't wait to see the movie. And she wrote back and said, oh, well, I'd love to have you come on stage and introduce the movie. And I was like, are you kidding? And she didn't, we'd never met before. She didn't know me. And she's inviting me to come on stage in a theater and talk about my favorite movie to an audience. So how could I resist? Um, so I did that. And then after the movie, there was a guy that came up to me and he said I'd seen that movie before. I said, oh, where did you see it? He said, at Capitolfest in New York. And he started telling me all about Capitolfest. And he was, I started to think he was working for them or something. He was really, really pushing, you've got to go to Capitolfest. You've got to go to Capitolfest. And I thought, okay, it sounds great, but I don't have the ability to travel very much. I can't drive and whatever. So it sounds great, but that's probably not going to happen. But then, this goes back to what we were talking about before. They were showing an Alice White movie that year, which I don't think had been seen anywhere for like 90 years. And I'm probably making this story longer than I should have, but I thought about it, and I thought, because I knew a lot of my friends were going to be there seeing an Alice White movie that I'll never have the chance to see anywhere else. And I was just sitting around that summer thinking, do you want to just sit here and feel jealous and feel left out, or do you want to find a way to go to Capitol Fest and make it happen? So I talked to my father about it, and really, and he doesn't like making long drives, so I really had to state my case with him and talk about it, how this was an unusual situation. And uh, anyway, we talked about it all summer, and then finally, somehow, I convinced him, and he said yes. And we went, and it turns out my parents and we all had a great time, and we've been going there ever since. So that was how I got involved, and I've been there every year. And the PS to that is that I was supposed to have a doctor's appointment the weekend of Capitol Fest, and there was this. I'm not going to go into details, but there was just this terrible medical situation where I had these tests done, and which I hated. And it turned out they told me that the doctor who performed the test messed up the data on the test, and I had to have the test done again. And I thought, there's no way in hell that I'm going to go through this thing again. And as it turns out, they wanted us to do the test the weekend of Capitol Fest, so I had an excuse not to go. So we just didn't bother to reschedule the appointment. We just went to Capitol Fest, never called the doctor back. So that was it. So I got to spend a weekend watching movies instead of having tests done on me again. So as it turns out, Capitol Fest really not only completely changed my life in terms of making connections to other movie people, but it saved me from a doctor's appointment that I didn't want. So there you go.
Oh,
So it
that's
was
great.
completely life changing on multiple levels. And I think my interest in old movies has really increased because of Capitol Fest, because I started really doing more research on actors that were featured there and directors that were featured there, and I've really expanded in so many ways and learned more about movies because of Capitol Fest in 100 different ways, as well as making friendships with people, as you know, and connecting with all these wonderful people that I get to see every year. So anyway, that's that's my soapbox speech about Capitol Fest. So what else do you want to tell me about your experiences?
That's amazing. First of all, just yeah, how special the event is. Even I've only been once now, and I'm so excited to go back. It's you just walk through that theater, it's like you really feel like you're back in time.
Oh yeah.
And everybody's so nice. I mean, Art Pierce, like he's one of my favorite people ever. Like, what a man. Just to give me these opportunities with Laura LaPlante has been such a dream come true. And I heard it was Laura LaPlante, I sent him this long email. I wanted to be involved so bad. But he had already said he had me in mind. And I'm like, what? Like I didn't even know he knew who I was. It was just so wonderful.
Hmm.
Yeah, we go with my whole family. They loved it too. We just had the best time. But like you said, it increased my love for it too, because you get to see all these rare films and get to see them with the live music and the crowd. It's just it really is like going back in time.
Yeah, and they don't have anything like it here in Philadelphia, so it's not an experience I can get anywhere else.
For sure. I live in Florida. Like we have nothing like that. No festivals of, silent film that I know of, maybe, but not in my area in Tallahassee.
Yeah,
Maybe someday.
yeah. It's well, you can start one. That's the thing.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that's. I keep wondering about that because I mean, I'm in Philadelphia. You would think it's a pretty cultural town. We have other kinds of film festivals here. So why is somebody not doing a vintage film festival? I'm sure there must be someone out there who could do that, but I don't
For
know.
sure.
But we do actually have. I was talking before about Shannon Quinty, who does programming for. Actually, there are several theaters that are a chain, which she programs, and they do run a 35 millimeter film festival over a weekend there. And
Oh,
George Willman, who I guess you know, who's involved in Capitolfest, is involved in that too. And so yeah, that is well, it's a weekend of movies, but it's not like Capitolfest. It's not the same kind of thing. But but they do show some 1930s movies there, so that's about as close as they get.
that's great though.
Yeah,
Any exposure. Wow.
yeah. So there's something. I mean, I was saying on Capitolfest. I mean, sorry, I was saying on Facebook the other day that I was kind of fantasizing about it, running my own theater sometime and just programming whatever I want. And that's probably not going to happen because I don't have the money. But it's nice to think about.
It is nice. You
Uh,
never know, someday, maybe.
yeah. So, do you want to talk about more about your involvement in this year's program and working with Rick and all that?
Yes, I would love to. First of all, I just want to say Rick Lewis passed away a week and a half ago, which was so sudden and so sad. And he had been helping me with the documentaries for Laura La Plante and Seizu Pitts. And it's just, I mean, obviously it's more tragic for, his family, his friends, but I felt so sad just because I've been working with him over Zoom, over phone calls, emails, and I was so excited to meet him in person this year. And so it was very tragic. Art said they're going to dedicate the documentaries to him and his memory, so I thought that was beautiful. They're still going to go on. Someone else is working on them now, AJ. I'm not really sure who that is, but he guess he works for Capital Fest. And so they're still gonna go on. We're gonna do like 5-minute documentaries. I already recorded the vocals. At my school, I work at FSU. They have, all the technology, which was great. And yeah, I wrote some program descriptions for Laura's films. That was fun. And I'll introduce some of the films. I think Art wants me to do a little book signing. I'm sure during like a break period, because I wouldn't want people to miss a film, of course.
Yeah,
I'm really so excited, especially to see Finders Keepers. That's one I've
yeah,
never seen. And it's Laura LaPlante's very favorite film that she ever made. So it's like, because she just loved how silly it was. She loved a comedy. I'm
yeah.
excited.
And
Yeah.
I guess the thing that's most exciting for me is I don't know if you know Lee Tracy. Have you seen any of his films?
That name is so familiar. I think so.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff, and he's one of my favorites because I love just those weird character actors. And they announced that they're showing a film of his called The Nightmare, Mayor, which I guess is the only, or maybe not the only, but it's one of the very few pre-code films of his that I haven't seen because it's very rare. It's just not out there. So
Oh my gosh.
I was excited to see that. I mean, I know you're obviously excited to see Laura's films and all that, but I wanted to mention something that they have there besides Laura's films, and obviously they have a lot of Zezou Pitts there as well, who I also love. So it'll be a good show this year, and I'm happy that you're involved, and that's exciting. And
Thank you.
I'll,
Yeah, I'm thrilled about the lineup looks amazing. Laura LaPlante's film Butterfly, like we said before, is going to be there. I've seen it twice now at UCLA. It's amazing. I'm like thrilled to tears about it basically. Like that's what I hope to get released like someday. But it's a process. I've been talking to Ben Modell. We'll see, but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it is public domain now. That helps.
Exactly, you're right. Yeah, like so many of that's what's so wonderful. Like much of Laura's career is public domain. So
Yeah. The
we'll
question is,
see.
who's going to spend the money to put them out?
I know. That's the thing with with Ben Modell stuff, he does like the Kickstarters.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, people would raise the money for a Laura LaPlante. Like we're thinking about a two pack, like, two features.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's in the talks.
Yeah, I was hoping to have Ben on this show at some point now that he has his book out, but I don't know. I know he's busy, but I'm going to try to ask him.
Yes. Oh, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, he's so great.
Yeah,
So
I've
talented.
yeah, I've only met him briefly a few times, but he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So, let's see. We haven't really talked too much about the books that you're working on. So I know you've got two other projects in the works. So maybe a little bit about that, and then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, of course. The next book hopefully will come out with Split Reel, Rob Stone's company. Love that. He's amazing. So it should come out hopefully next year. I'm hoping the early part of the year. It's called Marian Nixon, the nicest girl in Hollywood, which was what she was truly called. And the title is approved by her family. When I told her daughter, she was like, she literally was sitting on the couch and she just goes, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and she just loved the title. Um, so that one, I'm in the writing stages of that. I think I've got 40,000 words under my belt.
Oh,
Hopefully it'll, be much more than that, of course. So that one is like in the stages of like being, coming together. Minna
well,
Gombell,
I was going to say I don't think I have even 40,000 words in my whole vocabulary. So
no.
that's impressive.
You'd be amazed by like when you write your Warner Brothers book, it just adds up so quick. You're talking about all the films, and suddenly you look down at your computer, like, oh my God, it's a lot of
Yeah.
words. Like, um, so number three for biography, I already Minna Gombell, and that one I don't have too much done for it, just some research collected, but I push her aside until Marian's done,
Right.
and then as soon like this, the thing about my last time, as soon as I submitted Laura to the publisher, I started work on Marian research that day. Like I was like, okay, here we go, next one.
That was one question I forgot, which I guess is important. What's your process for doing research? I mean, when you're starting with a blank page, then how do you go about it?
Yes, oh my gosh. So, first of all, this is my method now, but when I first started, I'd never written nonfiction. So I was like, how do I go about this? So I started with a giant timeline, like 500 pages. It gets to that point at the end. I like to start with the magazines, the fan magazines on Media History Digital Library. That's probably
Yes.
the best because it's free. So I was doing that part first, and then I moved on to newspapers. Newspapers, again, this is not like no plugs, but Genealogy Bank is my favorite. Um, and that one, I think I found some of the best stuff in there. The newspapers. I was like, oh my goodness, who would have ever known about like certain things in the articles? Like, what do you remember in the, sorry to go off topic, but in the, when Laura filmed Perils of the Yukon and like William Desmond almost died, I was like, that was only in the newspapers.
Hmm.
Like, I was surprised. Um, After that, and again, this is a fluid process. It's not just like very like I like to reach out to the archives, see what they've got on my subject. Obviously, if I can speak to people who know them. I was a lot luckier with Marian than I was with Laura. I never could get in contact with her son. I tried, but I don't know if it was even the right, phone number or whatever, you like it was tricky. So that's finding people who knew them, archives, collecting photographs. I don't know, it's a fluid process, and you get to a point where you really do feel like I think I've got enough. I think I've seen what there is to see
Yeah.
about the person. Sorry if that's all of it. Um,
Excuse me.
but I'm learning as I go because some of the things with Laura I'm doing differently with Marian. Like, what can make this process better?
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess after you've done Minagombo, then are there other ideas that you have in mind? Is there kind of a pipeline of projects that you want to do?
Yeah, I do. I don't know. I really love Louise Dresser. Like,
Hmm.
when I saw her in Stepping Sisters, I was like, ooh. I'm also really drawn to actresses now that like don't have children. Because
Hmm.
obviously Laura and Mary, and I don't know why, I think it's just I don't have children, so it makes me feel comforted. Minna didn't have children. I mean, she had a stepson for a while, but then um she divorced that man. We'll get to that in the book. But yeah, so Louise Dresser, I mean, I've announced Phyllis Haber before to some people, and people are like, "Where's the Phyllis Haber book?" And I'm
Hmm.
like, I do want to write about her. She's not in my invisible string like we talked about, where like each person comes from the book before.
Yeah.
I don't know, it feels more natural, but I still love Phyllis Haber.
Yeah.
Um, she's
I,
an icon.
Well, I haven't seen a lot of her, but she
Yeah.
was in Chicago, right? Yeah,
Yes,
I
that's what
love
she's most
Chicago.
known for.
Yeah, I mean, I showed that in my class recently, and that's a great film. But
Oh, did people love it?
oh yeah, that was a big hit.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of her beyond that I can recall. But I mean, Chicago alone is that's a great performance.
Oh yeah. And I saw the one I saw at UCLA was The Office Scandal. It's with
Oh yes.
Margaret Livingston, and that one was amazing. I wish again, I wish that one was out into the world, but
Sorry, for a second there, I was thinking of The Office Wife, which is Dorothy McHale and Joan Blondell. But that's
oh my gosh, that's funny, similar names.
yeah.
Yeah. The Office Scandal is more like Phyllis plays like a journalist trying to solve a murder. It's really good.
Hmm.
I loved it.
Yeah, well, maybe that's another Capital Fest possibility. You'll have to talk to Art.
I know, I like art, I've got ideas like
Yeah, I mean, I don't know Art very well, but I write to him occasionally and ask for things, and sometimes they can't find certain films, but whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
That-
So yeah, I guess we've covered just about everything, and well, and more than I expected to. I didn't think I would have enough questions to fill an hour, but there we go.
Oh,
Um,
yay.
so the book again is Laura La Plante, Silent Cinderella by Laura Jerrolds. And thank you, Laura. It's really been a pleasure to have you here. I really enjoyed this.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much.
Andrew. This was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate your being here.
Of
Thank you.
course, thanks for having me.
My pleasure.